And now here's our first video on the wedding day filming checklist, starting with the pre-wedding. So typically the first part of the day begins with getting ready. Now this is also the time we go and introduce ourselves. Our first shooters will go with the bride. The second shooter will go with the groom. Now it is responsibility of the first shooter to make sure that you make a good impression and introduce yourself to everyone involved, meaning other vendors, the photographer, and of course the couple. Ensure them that it's going to be a good day. Now let's start delving into some of the details of what you can expect. Now, I'll start with the bride. Now the thing with getting ready is that it is chaos in there. It's usually a small room with who knows how big the bride or the groomsman's party is. The key thing is to pick a spot, and it's okay to move any bridesmaids or anyone like that. Remember, this is about the brides. Usually they're very understanding, and a simple gesture of, hey, may I get right there real quick, will go a long way with that. With makeup and hair, the thing you want to think about here is focusing on the tights and the mediums. A good example of a medium would be including the hairdresser along with the bride, and you can visually see that her hair is getting done. It's also helpful if you can get the bride to smile or, make some face that other than just a nonchalant, oh, I'm getting my hair done look. A good example of a tight would be maybe getting really focused on the brushing, the strokes, things like that. And also don't be afraid to grab miscellaneous shots of B-roll such as makeup kits or things of that nature. Now mirror shots. This is two things to think about. Number one, don't get stuck being shot in the mirror. Now do remember to watch out for other vendors like the photographer. Remember, if you can see the photographer in the mirror, he can probably see you too. So do make sure you communicate with him or her on that. The other facet is this is a lot of times where the bride might actually be getting herself touched up, and then if you stand off to the side and shoot in the mirror, you'll get a really good shot of her face. Now the dress shot is a big one for most brides because they spend quite a bit of money on this. But to keep it simple, focus on a wide shot of the dress and any other complementary details that might be in it. We also have accessories to complement the dress. So think about getting the shoes, any type of special jewelry, rings, the veil, or even invitations. Those are all little things that have contributed to making this day special to them. Here's a good candid moment to capture: the bride getting a gift from the groom. This is one that videographers tend to screw up a lot, and the reason for that is they try to recreate a moment that doesn't need to be recreated. What you need to do is make sure that you get the bride by herself. Ideally, we try to place them by the window. Now, the first time around is the actual moment itself, and you don't want to disturb that. So make sure you're positioned well to capture her reaction, and on top of that, capture the audio that comes from it. Now, you make sure you want to inform this. The second time around, we're going to get small details such as tights on her opening the box, or just little tight shots of the letter or her holding it. That way we can complement it and split up the talking part of it so that it enhances the moment. Now, as this is starting to wind down, it comes to the point where the bride is putting on her dress. Now, you're not going to literally film her putting her dress on. You're going to get to the moment where they need to usually zip or button up the back of it. That's usually done by the mother of the bride. And the moment you want to get is the look on both the mother and the bride. Now you want to be aware of any other moments that will supplement this, such as putting on her shoes, which is typically done by the maid of honor, putting on the veil, and putting on any miscellaneous jewelry. Now every once in a while, we'll have a first look where the father of the bride actually gets to go into the suite and see his daughter for the first time in her wedding dress. It's very rare that we get to mic the father of the bride, but if you can, do it. Capture that moment in the way it was meant to be: genuine, authentic, and candid. Finally, remember that most of the time that you're in here, this is about being photojournalistic. So try your best to be the fly on the wall and let things happen. Something we train our editors is to focus on the wow, the ha, and the aw moments. So make sure you're aware of those when you're in there. All right, now let's move on to the groom. If you're the second shooter and you're shooting the guys, start with just shooting the guys candidly hanging out. They're gonna be joking, they're gonna be laughing, they're gonna be doing things that are special to them. When the groom is getting ready, focus on these, and it's okay if you recreate these, but try to capture them photojournalistically, such as putting on the jacket, putting on his tie, any type of cufflinks, putting on shoes, a watch. These are good medium and tight shots. As I mentioned earlier, that the bride gets a gift from the groom. Now it's the other way around where the groom gets a gift from the bride. And now focus on filming that moment as it unfolds. And if you can, get the reading of the letter. Remember, this is an identical type of scenario that's going on in another suite. So apply the same rules that I mentioned earlier to this situation. At some point, guys will usually have a toast. It's important to grab that moment. And again, be photojournalistic. Focus on those candid moments. Experiment a little bit. Wide, mediums, and tights. Make it dynamic. Move around and just capture things as they unfold. And now that we've wrapped up essentially getting ready, now we may move into another section such as either the first look or we may just go straight to ceremony.